that sense of not wanting to do anything is really natural. The way that, a way to think about it is, the one who created the life may not be the one who's sitting here anymore. If you are in this sort of washing machine of spiritual seeking, different experiences come your way. So at some point, and this isn't necessarily across the board, it happened here and it seems to happen in other places, but some people don't experience it. At some point there is this, holy shit, I don't want to do anything but sit here. So if you can, and it's not required, there's ways to deal with that and still do your business and job and relationships and life. However, if you can, and you don't feel like you have too many responsibilities and events that are tricky if you just abandon, then perhaps create some time to just sit and do nothing. Rather than worrying about how much time. Because in this experience, I went to work, and then I would come home, and I would sit on the couch and wait for a desire to do something. Sometimes something came, sometimes it didn't. No thought, working through the fear, what if I never get up again? Working through the loneliness, what if nobody pays attention? Lurking through boredom, oh fuck, come on, don't I want to do something? Something must be wrong with me, I must be depressed. Just continuing to trust that pull toward the silence. And then 5:30 would roll around in the morning, walk into work, do work. 1:30 comes along, go home, and wait. Sometimes something comes, sometimes it doesn't. It's still that way. Because what I noticed is until I was willing to find out what this pull to silence really was about, it felt very troublesome. Because I would be telling a story about the future. Well, I want to be silent, but I can't be silent because I got to go to work, and then how am I going to, I got to make sure I eat, and I got to I was trying to plan the future from the position I was in, which is always impossible. I suck at guessing the future. So in some ways, it's a little counterintuitive, although it feels very natural right after you discover that it all works out, is just trust. Trust that pull to silence. And if people in your life ask you if something's wrong, tell them no. Because it will look like a depression. From the way that we categorize depression, it'll look like, well, he doesn't move. He doesn't want to do anything. I don't know what's wrong with him. And so having a very clear conversation, nothing feels wrong. And at this point, I can't quite explain it. But there is this incredible desire to be still. And so I want to honor that, and I understand if it makes you nervous. However, all I can do is say, as best as you can, trust. You have to say that to yourself, and you have to say that to the people in your life. And you don't have to say it, but it's very useful to just communicate very honestly. And then find out what the silence is about. You can still go to work. And then when you go home, and if you have kids, explain it to them. You know, right now, it's kind of like I'm a mountain. Do you know how mountains don't move? Well, I don't know how to explain it other than I don't really want to move. Does this ever happen to you? And I love you and feel free to share anytime. But I think I'm just going to sit here. And if the people in your life don't understand, at least you did your half, which is communicating as honestly as possible. And then you leave them to their own thoughts. We have to be willing to leave each other to suffer through our own thoughts if we want any peace. So, trust. It will feel like, from all that you've heard, a depression. And in this experience, it's not. It's a sweetness. It's this. You already know what it is. That's why you want. That's why you're concerned. That's why you ask the question. I want to play. I want to hang out there. I want to see what that is. You already know. And let's say you wrote you feel like crap. Let's say that you have a feeling that's arising. Rather than sort of giving it contextual labels, giving it a positive or negative label, without too much mental language involvement, just become slightly curious about it. What is feeling like crap? Where does it happen? Sometimes, and you may have discovered this in the retreat, there's this sort of pull to drowsiness. That's either way. You can work to fight through that, gently fight through that, or you can follow it and take the rest. It's like if you do a mantra for a while, not just like 10 minutes, but if you do it for a while, then there's this very funny drowsiness that comes. And different people say different things. One of the things that feels very playful is that the pull to nap is the reward of attention. However, the pull to nap can also be a distraction from being attentive. So it's not really deciding which one it is so much as playing with both. Watch for the story of the future, because it's really the only stressful thing. Besides, the past should have been different. So irregardless of the content of the story of the future or the story of the past, just find the feeling, the location of the feeling of giving either thing, which cannot be found anywhere, energy. What happens? How does it feel if you give fear of the future, which is the only fear possible, energy? And how does it feel if you give the past should have been different energy? And when you get tired, even of that curiosity there, then how nice to know that the last thing, or the next thing, or the obvious thing, the default is resting right here. It's really the most amazing thing. That when you're tired of yesterday and tomorrow, then you can just rest right here. It's like the default of all of that effort is the ease that I think the effort will bring me. If you have other questions or comments about what you're experiencing, please feel free to share anytime. I've been making lots of entertaining videos, and yesterday that sort of being a clown sense left. It might come back, but there's something very beautiful about stop being entertaining and share this.